My name is Christine Cash. Today I'm going to be leading you through a cross-training workout from figure skating to gymnastics. Similar connections. This is very true for figure skating and gymnastics. Both are power sports. The athlete uses their lower body, specifically your quadriceps, calves, peroneal tendons, to get up in the air, and then they use their core to stabilize themselves while we rotate. In figure skating, we're doing vertical rotation. We're using our core to stabilize ourselves in the air, and we're hitting a strong D position in order to complete the desired rotation. In gymnastics, this is also true, however, they can be laterally inverted. The athlete must also remain tight and compact in order to get their desired rotation. Take you through was created for elite level gymnasts. It is important that when you're working out, you do it in a safe location, such as an open space. This can take place in a figure skating warm-up arena, even in the change room, and there's no equipment required except for an optional jump rope. This jump rope will be used for exercises such as basic bounce and running skip. However, if you don't have a jump rope, you can mimic the motion with your arms like this. Working out, ensure that you're adequately hydrated and nourished. It is important that your hydration levels are maintained throughout this workout so you don't lose electrolytes or feel faint. It is also important that you're nourished so that your muscles can execute movements that you need them to do. Working out, I would recommend drinking at least 1 cup of water and having carbohydrates that will act as fuel for your muscles. This workout is to strengthen the athlete's muscles and increase their cardiovascular endurance. This will help them achieve their goals and enhance their performance on the ice. Similar to the way this would strengthen a gymnast's lower body and stabilize their core, this will also do the same thing for figure skaters, transferring on the ice into their routines. Approximately an hour. Now, some precautions that an athlete might need to take in this workout usually have to do with injury. Although we like to say we'll never get injured, it can happen. So during exercises, if an athlete feels unusual pain or extensive stretch, it is important to modify. Modifications will be provided throughout the duration of this workout. Tiny fiber tears are created in the muscles. These over time will be repaired and the muscle will grow back stronger and larger. This is essential to athletes' training, especially under rotational force, as they need to remain compact and strong while rotating. This, however, can be taken too far, and athletes that overtrain create too many tears in their muscles that aren't able to be repaired, creating strain, injury, or even full muscle tears. It is vital that the athlete takes this workout into their own hands and does it, although to the best of their ability, not extensively. I would recommend that this workout is done 2 to 3 times a week, and no more, as it is quite intense and targets major muscle groups. This workout begins with a nice warm-up. It includes dynamic stretch and getting our heart rate up. It also includes 3 circuits. The first will target lower body strength. The second, cardiovascular endurance and arms. The third will be stability and static strength. We will then finish with a yoga-based cool down and static stretch. One is to warm up our muscles. This is crucial as tight muscles can snap, creating great injury and even the potential for surgery. So first, we have to get our heart rate up. So first, we're going to jog on the spot for 1 minute. Now when you're jogging, keep your arms very close to your body. You want everything narrow and light, like this. Next, we're going to warm up with our jump rope. We're going to begin with 100 basic bounce. Basic bounce consists of turning the rope like so and jumping under it on both feet, almost as if you're bouncing. It looks like this from the side, and this from the front. It is important to keep your shoulders very still and your arms at just under a 45-degree angle. Too high, and you're going to harm your shoulders and engage your lats. Too low, and you might hit your head on the rope. After 100 basic bounce, we're going to do 100 running skip. This is similar to basic bounce, except the athlete steps over the rope almost as if they're running, like this. From the front, it appears like this. Again, they want a proud chest and a very straight back to minimize strain. Finally, we're going to do 50 skips on the right leg, like so. And 50 on the left leg. Once again, maintaining our proud chest and engaging our quads and calves. Put your rope down because we're going to do 50 jumping jacks. Jumping jacks greatly increase your cardiovascular endurance and use almost every muscle in your body. They appear as this. When doing jumping jacks, bring your hands all the way up over your head and your legs as wide as possible, almost as if you're doing a plie. The longer you stretch, the more you're going to get out of this workout. So stretch all the way up, bend, and press. Do 50 of these. To conclude our workout, we're going to do a dynamic stretch to ensure that our muscles are stretched out enough to do the exercises. First, we're going to stretch out our quads. This will be done by taking your left hand and bringing your left foot to them and pulling down. Be sure to keep your knee in line with your hip. We're going to step and do it again. Hold this stretch for no longer than 10 seconds. You can use a wall or a partner for support if you feel off balance. Generally, the athlete will do this stretch until they feel lengthened and relaxing in their quad. This will also be done on the right leg, grabbing with the same hand. Make sure that your knees don't separate, as this will stretch out the wrong muscles in your leg and can cause injury. So from the side, it appears like this. And from the front, your knees are together, arms are down, and you're stable. You can also tighten your core and look straight ahead at a focal point. This will help you balance and focus on the stretch. Next, we're going to stretch out our hamstrings and calves. This is done by something called inchworm. The athlete starts stretching their hands up to the sky and going into a forward fold. They then walk out their hands, do a push-up, and walk in their feet. Then coming back up, the head coming up last to prevent a head rush. The athlete can do this across the floor, going up, down, rolling out, doing a push-up, and coming back in. Once again, the athlete will do this until they feel relaxation and they feel loose through their hamstrings and calves. A sore athlete might have to do this 20 times, whereas an athlete simply warming up may only have to do it 10. The important thing is that the athlete is warm and relaxed. Now that we're all warmed up, let's begin with Circuit 1. Circuit 1 targets power and explosiveness, as well as abdominal and core stability and strength. These components are essential in both figure skating and gymnastics, as when the athlete jumps up, they need to be able to fire and get the maximum amount of height. Exercises will be squats. We will be doing 30 reps. When the athlete does squats, they should have about a foot between their legs, and they can have their arms either out to the side or together. The athlete will take their gluteus back and they will sit in. This is 1 rep. The athlete can also take their hands and place their elbows on their knees. That's 1 rep. It is crucial when doing squats to not let the athlete's knee pass over their toe, as this puts extreme pressure on the shins and the patella. When doing squats, look straight ahead. When the reps start to get harder and more tiring, athletes will tend to migrate from one leg to the other. Make sure that their center of gravity remains directly in the center and their balance neutral. When doing squats, engage your arms, glutes, and hamstrings. Squats simulate the act of jumping. The athlete uses their hamstrings to bend and then fire up when landing. Next exercise targets core stability. This will be done in the form of crunches. The athlete will lie on their back with their knees at a 90-degree angle. They will place their hands behind their head and draw an imaginary line from their nose to the ceiling. They will crunch up halfway, all for 30 reps. They will then slowly lower without their head or shoulder blades touching the ground. They will think of squeezing their core into the floor while getting their nose to their knees. It is important while doing crunches that the athlete does not use their neck. The hands are provided by the ears for support only, and they're not cranking their neck forward to put additional strain on these ligaments. The athlete must engage their core, and their lower core as well, to get the full act of the crunch. Exercise is plank. This exercise engages the abdominals, the quadriceps, even the shins and calves and back. Plank will be held for 1 minute and can be done on elbows or wrists. I believe elbows is appropriate for this exercise, as skaters generally don't use their biceps as much when jumping, however they do use their scapula. If an athlete has a wrist injury, they can take a block and put their wrist on it like so. This will take off any strain and compression. If the athlete chooses to do it on their elbows, they will place their elbows at a 90-degree angle on the ground and stretch their feet out behind them. The ideal form of plank is to be completely flat. This is called teepee butt, and although it makes the exercise easier, it's what we classify as cheating at the ring, and it does not engage your abdominals. This is called saggy butt. It's also too low and puts extreme pressure on the lower lumbar vertebrae of the back. The athlete should think of being as straight as a board, pressing their stomach into their back. The glutes, hamstrings, calves, abdominals, and shoulder blades are all engaged. The athlete should hold this for 1 minute. Are similar to plie jumps. They are jump squats. Once again, this will engage the hamstrings, quadriceps, calves, and peroneal tendons. To do jump squats, the athlete starts with their feet together. They will then jump out with toes pointing forward, go into a 90-degree squat, and come back in. The arms going like this. A proper jump squat looks like this. Some common errors that can create injury are knees coming past the toes on impact or takeoff, and an incorrect takeoff where the athlete does not fully extend their legs. The athlete should do 25 of these. This exercise targets the quadricep. It is 1 minute of wall sit. This can be done against a wall, door, or a stable flat surface. To begin, the athlete takes their feet out about 1.5 feet from the wall. They can then place their hands on the wall for support and sit down almost as if in a chair. Their back needs to be flat against the wall and their hands off. Common mistakes in this exercise include having the knee past the toe and taking their back off the wall almost as if to be rounded. To cheat, athletes also like to have their feet farther out as it makes it much easier. However, a 90-degree angle is ideal. The athlete should hold this for 1 minute. If shaking occurs, they should take deep breaths to try and stabilize their body. To finish circuit 1, we will target both obliques and center abdominals with bicycle crunches. The athlete should do 50 of these. To do this, the athlete should lie on their back with their hands once again linked behind their head. The athlete will then bring their opposite elbow to their knee and then switch. The athlete should completely rotate their upper body towards the side, which their elbow will make contact with their knee. The feet and head should hover across the floor and should not be dropped throughout the exercise. The athlete should do 50, counting 1, 2, 3. This exercise is not recommended for athletes that have a stiff or injured lower back, as that if done incorrectly, it can put pressure on the lower lumbar vertebrae. Now that you have finished circuit 1, it is important to replenish water. I would recommend drinking at least a half cup of water. You may then have a 2-minute rest before we start circuit 2. Now that our lower body and core have been strengthened with circuit 1, It's time to target our upper body and cardiovascular endurance with Circuit 2. Exercise will be tricep dips. This targets the tricep muscle. This can be done using a chair. However, it can also be done on the floor if a chair is not available, as I will be showing you. To begin, the athlete will stretch out their feet completely straight, have a proud chest, and keep their shoulders down. The athlete will then walk their feet out so they're completely flat and dip. It is important that the athlete does not let their shoulders creep up to their ears, as this will put pressure on the neck, lats, and trapezius muscles. The athlete will then keep their back and core engaged and only let their arms bend. It is important that the athlete does not dip in their body, forming a V, or overextend, as this puts pressure on the shoulders and low back. The athlete should think of pressing their back into their core while maintaining a strong plank form. It is normal for the core to dip slightly. However, it should not dip more than 20 degrees during this exercise. Our next exercise is burpees, and this will target our cardiovascular and muscular endurance. To do a burpee, an athlete starts with a jump. They will then bend into a push-up position and do a push-up. They will then jump their feet in and finish with another jump. In fast motion, a burpee looks like this. In burpees, athletes generally tend to let their core go slack. It's important during both the jump and the decline that the athlete keeps their core tight. An incorrect burpee can look something like this. This puts strain on the athlete's lower back. Athletes also must take caution when jumping to absorb the impact through their knees and ankles. Just simply doing this puts great pressure on the patella. The athlete should do 15 of these. Target our triceps and cardio. We're going to target our deltoids and our biceps, doing push-ups. The athlete should do 15 of these, and they will begin in push-up position. Their arms should be slightly wider than their shoulders, and their legs completely straight out underneath them. Once again, we want plank form, no sag or teepee. Next, the athlete will lower down all the way to the floor without putting any body weight on it. The athlete should keep their core very tight and their head up and level with their shoulders. When going down, the elbows can come out or be 90 degrees. When coming up, the athlete should push through their deltoids and through their biceps. If an athlete has poor wrists, they can once again use the block put under the wrist like so. This will take any strain off the wrist ligaments. Our next exercise is very difficult and targets our cardiovascular endurance. This exercise is high knees, and the athlete must do 100 as fast as they can. This is similar to running. However, the athlete brings their knees up almost to their chest. They use their arms and engage their biceps as well as their triceps. This looks like this in fast motion. It is important that the athlete leans slightly back. However, they must not put pressure on their lower back by arching. Their entire body angle must come back, so their knee can come all the way up past 90 degrees, like this. Next exercise may prove difficult, and the athlete may want a spotter. It is the handstand press. The athlete will do 50 of these, and it engages the trapezius, bicep, and tricep, as well as the deltoid muscle. To begin, the athlete will start in a handstand, generally against the wall. To do this safely, the wall might have some padding, and the floor must not be carpeted, as carpet can shift. To go up into the handstand, they will put one foot forward and extend their arms like so. The athlete athlete may choose to walk into the wall like this, or the athlete may choose to go straight up against the wall. To do the handstand press, the athlete must go into the wall and bring their elbows to a 45-degree angle, then press up. Some athletes prefer to do this set of 20 in 2 sets of 10 rather than all at once. A proper handstand press looks like this. The athlete may choose to spread their feet against the wall for balance. The athlete might also take their hands slightly wider than their shoulders. This is similar to a push-up. They will bring their arms down and all the way back up, never surpassing 45 degrees. The next exercise is mountain climbers. This targets the athlete's hip flexors, quads, as well as increases their cardiovascular endurance. To do this, the athlete begins in a push-up position. They will then bring their knee into their elbow, switching legs. It is important that because the knee comes over this toe in this exercise, that the athlete does not put excessive pressure onto this knee. It is similar to that of a hurdler starting a race. The athlete must push off the back foot to make the change of legs. The arms should remain straight but not locked as to not put pressure on the elbow, and the gaze should remain straight. A proper mountain climber looks like this. Some improper examples would be only bringing their knee in halfway, which can result in bruising of the kneecap by hitting it on the floor, and it doesn't get the same muscular endurance effect. Or coming out to the side, thus pronating their knee in and causing strain to the patellar ligaments. The athlete should do 100 of these. This is the end of circuit 1. After such a cardiovascular-based circuit, it's important to rehydrate your body, as the athlete will likely be sweating. About 1 cup of water is recommended. However, if the athlete has an upset stomach, half a cup is perfectly fine. The athlete should also be encouraged to walk on their 2-minute break, as it will flush out lactic acid that has formed and keep the muscles loose. Begin circuit 3. This circuit was formed to increase lower body stationary strength and to increase overall stability. This is essential in both gymnastics and figure skating, as we land either like this or like this on one leg. An unstable landing platform can cause the leg to shake and the athlete to step out of the element. It is important that when landing in figure skating, the athlete is able to press through their quad. The pressure from the quad to their shin down into their foot must remain constant. The peroneal tendon is engaged as long as the arch of the foot and the hamstring. A proper landing looks like this. This is similar in gymnastics, as when the athlete takes the force of the body weight of 8 times, it is important that their muscles remain strong and tight, so they do not step out or fall out of the element. Will be calf raises. This can be done on the floor or for more of a challenge on the edge of the stair, holding onto a rail. The athlete will begin with their feet side by side and their arms at their sides. They will then tighten their quads and engage their calves to lift their body and bring it back down. The athlete, if doing this on a stair, should do 20. If doing it on the floor, should do close to 100 if possible. A good target is 80 at the moment. When doing calf raises, the athlete must keep their head straight, their shoulders down and relaxed, and their glutes, quads, and hamstrings tight and engaged. If needed, the athlete can hold onto a wall for balance when going up and down. It is important that the knees stay locked during this exercise, as if they are bent, you will be engaging your soleus and not the upper calf muscle. Improper calf raises can include a rounded back, putting strain on the knees, or a not fully locked position, meaning that the athlete only goes halfway up and bends their knees. To do this properly, The athlete must think of growing tall and being very straight and relaxed, thus raising their calves. The heels should be thinking of coming almost 180 degrees off the floor, so the athlete is almost on their toes. The next exercise targets stability when landing in our obliques. In order to maintain a landing position, the athlete must not rock from one side to the other. They must be able to engage their obliques to remain straight and vertical. This is also true in both figure skating and gymnastics in the air, as we must remain completely straight despite gravitational forces. These obliques will be strengthened using the side plank exercise. This is similar to a forward plank, however the athlete starts on their side. They can place either their elbow or their hand down, depending on wrist strength. I will be showing the elbow in this video. The athlete then stretches their feet up to the side, almost as if they're lying down, and presses up through their hip. The athlete can either extend their arm or cross it across their body for support of the oblique. An incorrect side plank can include a saggy butt or a teepee butt again. These once again do not engage the oblique and actually press the elbow unusually hard into the ground. If I were to do it from my hand, it would be exactly the same way, with the hand directly up from the shoulder and the legs up. The athlete must think of tightening their core and forcing this oblique up. The athlete should hold this for 30 seconds per side. This exercise is exactly the same on the left side. Once again, either on the elbow, pushing up through the hip, or on the arm. Exercise is pistol squats. These directly simulate the takeoff of a jump for both gymnastics and figure skating. One example of this is the axle. The athlete loads up their supporting leg and drives through. It can look something like this. Pistol squats strengthen the hamstrings, quadriceps, calves, soleus, and ankle stability, as well as for keeping the core tight. The athlete should aim to do 20 pistol squats per leg. To begin, the athlete stands on one foot and stretches their working leg out. They put their arms out directly at a 90-degree perpendicular to their body. They then squat all the way down, keeping this foot off the ground, and then bring it all the way back up. Now, some modifications can include only going 45 degrees or holding on to a wall for support. This exercise is often quite difficult, so the athlete may need to break it up. A proper pistol squat looks like this. This will be done on both legs. Exercise in this workout is the supine one-legged butt lift. This strengthens the glutes and hamstrings, which not only simulated gymnastics landing, but also a figure skating landing. The athlete should hold this for 30 seconds per leg. The athlete will begin almost in a crunch position, with their legs at 90 degrees towards the ground and their back completely flat. The athlete can put their hands out to the side for support. They will then push their pelvis up towards the sky so they are flat, almost as if they are a table. They will then lift one leg. Common mistakes in this exercise, including dropping of the lead leg. This looks like this. It is important as to not put pressure on the supporting leg, especially on the inside, that the athlete drives their supporting leg through. This will entail that this hip will push all the way up towards the sky so that it's perfectly level with your supporting leg. This is also true for the other side. Common safety precautions in this exercise involve keeping the feet at 90 so that the knee never passes over the toes, and keeping the hands flat to support the lower back. If the athlete feels the need, they may link their hands under their back. This will take pressure off the neck vertebrae. They may also use a padded mat. That's it for the strength and cardio portion of this workout. Now it's time to properly cool down. Cooling down the muscles is essential because it flushes out lactic acid and can reduce soreness, ultimately resulting in a better training day the next day. But cooling down doesn't just stop in the gym. It also involves eating right and getting enough water. Post-workout, we recommend that the athlete consumes protein and carbs, as the muscle fibers need to repair the tears that you have made. Without protein, this would not be possible. And the athlete may also want to wait an hour as to settle the stomach. Lactic acid can often cause upset stomachs. However, waiting an hour and drinking at least 1 cup of water has been known to reduce these symptoms. Delayed muscle onset soreness is also caused by weightlifting and large tears. The athlete should closely monitor their muscles after working out. They should make note of any changes and notify both their trainer and doctor if they feel weak, dizzy, nauseous, or extremely fatigued, especially within the first 3 hours of working out. The cool down of this workout is primarily yoga based. The athlete should begin with 5 deep breaths, bringing their hands up over their head each time, like this. This will help oxygenate muscles, especially in anaerobic sports such as gymnastics and figure skating. Next, I will take the athlete through a Shavasana flow. The athlete will take their hands up to the sky, taking in a deep breath of oxygen. Next, they will move into forward fold. They will come up halfway, keeping their spine straight and level at a 90-degree angle. They will then go into a deeper forward fold, holding this for 3 breaths. Next, they will walk out into downward dog. This will help stretch out the calves and soleus. The athlete will then step forward with their left leg and cartwheel the hands up. The athlete will hold this for 2 breaths, stretching out the quad and the hip flexor. Next, the athlete will pivot so their back foot is 90 degrees and open the hands, sinking into a low lunge, which looks from the side, like this. Next, the athlete will cartwheel the hands back up and go into downward dog once again, pedaling out the feet. Next, the athlete will swing the right leg through the hands and repeat on the left. Once both legs have been stretched out, the athlete will come back into downward dog and hop or jump or step into a forward fold once again. The athlete will hold this for 2 breaths, then gently roll up vertebrae by vertebrae, the head coming up last to prevent a head rush. The athlete will then finish with 5 deep breaths. A component of this workout and cool down is the static stretch. This is opposite to the dynamic stretch, which we use to prepare the muscles for workout. Static stretch is stationary and can be held for over 2 minutes. We're going to start from the bottom and work our way up to the top, targeting the muscles that we use today. First, we're going to begin with a hamstring stretch. This can be done standing up in forward fold or sitting down in pike. The athlete should stretch out their legs and make them straight, lengthen their back, take a deep breath, bringing their arms up and pulling themselves over. The athlete should not push themselves to the point where they should feel sharp pains up their calves or hamstrings. However, they should feel some pain. Throughout each breath, upon relaxation, the athlete should be able to stretch farther over. This can be held for 5 minutes or until the athlete feels a significant release in the hamstrings, like so. Next, we will stretch out the calves. This can be done many ways: in downward dog or against the wall. Against the wall, the athlete can press, keeping the back leg perfectly straight, or they may put their toe up against the wall like this. They must remain completely perpendicular to the wall and gently press themselves forward. Once the calf is stretched out for a minimum of 2 minutes on each side, they can bend their leg like this. This will stretch out the soleus, which is a muscle slightly lower than the 2 lips of the calf. They can also do this against the wall by bending their knee into the wall. I find the most effective way to stretch out your soleus is this bend. Next, we will stretch out the quadricep. The athlete may hold onto the wall for support and grab their heel and pull it into their glute. The athlete should remind themselves to keep their knees together, not out. And they should think of forcing their quad through the floor. This can be also done lying down. The athlete will lie perfectly flat, take their quad, and rock it in. This should not be done if the athlete has a knee injury. However, if the athlete is in stable condition, they may take their foot and put it beside their hip bone, forcing their knee down. This should be done on both legs for a minimum of 2 minutes. Next, we will stretch out our abs. This can be done, I find, most effectively using Cobra. The athlete begins in push-up position and drops their hip flexors, keeping their head to the sky. The athlete should think of a long line drawing through their nose all the way down through their stomach and belly button. We will then finish with child pose, which stretches out the glutes and the back. The athlete will start kneeling, drop their butt towards their heels, and stretch forward. From the side, it looks like this. There should be I hope you enjoyed my figure skating gymnastics cross-training workout and that it helps you achieve your goals. Remember to always make modifications if necessary and drink plenty of water. Remember that your body is what essentially does the work for you, and you must put the right kind of fuel into it. Remember, working out extends far beyond what's in the gym. It starts at home and transfers into the training. Thank you for watching.